Speaking of why, Lord, um,
I
I've
know
got
it.
questions.
I don't have answers.
I have answers too, but I have questions. But let's start with what's going on. Let's give the people context. So right now, this moment while we're recording, and all day, for matter of fact, probably more than 24 hours now, on Twitter/X, trending is Beyonce and Taylor Swift. Or whatever, Taylor Swift and Beyonce. I saw it as Beyonce and Taylor Swift. But
I don't read
they,
anything as Taylor Swift and Beyonce. I always read it as Beyonce and Taylor Swift.
well, I'm saying maybe someone else's app is showing it different because of their algorithm. But I
No.
saw it as alphabetical order. It was Beyonce and Taylor Swift. Now,
Oh no, I read it backwards on purpose.
you read it Swift, Taylor, and Beyonce?
No, I read Beyonce's name first on
I'm
purpose.
saying Beyonce's name was first on my
Oh,
app.
okay. I'm sorry.
I'm saying, but perhaps because of someone else's algorithm,
it might
it might be swapskis. You know what I'm saying?
right. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
So, anywho, fans are calling for, demanding for Beyonce and Taylor Swift, pausing for dramatic effect for those listening, not watching. And they are calling for them to have a fundraising event for, that's right, you guessed it, you probably didn't guess it, newly announced new candidate for President Kamala Harris.
She is the front runner for the Democratic Party. She has not yet been
Confirmed. Chosen.
I don't know if that's the word, but the DNC has not happened yet. The DNC will happen over the next couple of weeks, and at that point, the front runner will be officially announced. They are all unofficial until they get to that point.
You are correct.
So, but obviously, we know this is the person. Let's back up a little because this wasn't the case the last time we recorded. So,
It was not on
yesterday.
Friday. Yes, just yesterday.
We are recording this in real time. We are recording this on Monday. Yesterday it was Joe Budden. Joe Budden.
New Joe Budden.
Yesterday. That's because when I'm sitting here, that would be the name I would be using.
That would be the Joe we usually talk about,
right?
If we talk about one,
right? So President Joe Biden,
conceded.
he resigned from his campaign to run as the incumbent against the Republican Party. So, and he in the same at the same time endorsed Kamala Harris as the front runner to basically take his spot as the candidate. So here we are, 24 hours, a little bit over 24 hours later.
And Twitter is calling for Beyonce and Taylor Swift to host a fundraising event for new president candidate Kamala Harris. My question is, why, Lord?
So here's my frustration.
Go ahead.
And I've said this
Go
before.
ahead.
I don't.
I have to talk with a country accent for the rest of the pod. I'm not.
You do your thing.
I'm not.
Here's my frustration.
Tell them why you mad, son. Tell them why you mad.
I think sometimes we rely too much on celebrities. I think we have faves and we have people that we look up to or feel inspired by, and we hold them accountable in ways that we don't really have. I don't want to say we don't have a right to, because I think that as public figures, they do have a responsibility to uphold a certain image to some degree. But I think sometimes, and I've said this before, I think sometimes we ask things of them that they never promised us. They never look to do. Beyonce makes music, puts it out, she gets on stage, she dances, she sings. That is her job. Like, that is the job that she does. The same way, you know, your cousin Steve, goes to his job, goes to his job down at the Subway and makes sandwiches. But, like, are you going to tell Steve that he has to hold a fundraiser for the political party? Like, I just feel like sometimes we forget that they're humans. And while I do think that they are public figures, and so they need to be mindful and they need to be responsible of their stance in the world and on global issues and on politics, I also think that why is it their responsibility to raise money for Kamala Harris? It would be nice if they did so. But I don't understand this public outcry of people wanting them to get involved. I want them to get involved with making the music they make. I don't want, like, when I'm looking for advice on politics and when I'm looking for deep and thoughtful and intellectual conversation on politics, I don't go and, seek out Beyonce or Taylor Swift for that. That's just not. I think sometimes our expectations misalign with the people that we're directing it at. I think that there are people who exist in the world to do that and to take on that responsibility. I don't think that your pop stars are the ones. That's just my personal opinion. I know a lot of people feel differently, and a lot of people feel that they do have a responsibility and but I don't know that they do. And is Taylor Swift even a Democrat? Because why they asking for her? Never mind.
Don't know, same.
I would guess probably not.
Well, she has spoke out about certain guy who's the front runner for the other side, so perhaps that's why. I will say this:
Mm-hmm.
um, musicians,
Mm-hmm.
pop stars, singers, rappers, MCs, artists. They are not responsible for political cosigns. They are not responsible to raise money for political candidates. They are not responsible for pushing political agendas or candidates. I think the problem is people become fans of artists and then want things from the artist. The only job the artist has is to provide you with whatever that thing is, right? And so if they are a pop artist, then their job is to provide you with pop music and who knows, maybe some music videos. Maybe, not required. So I'm going to say maybe. It will probably behoove them, but not required. Now, I think the problem is not that people are looking to artists to do this, because there have been throughout history artists who are
Of
specifically
course. Yeah.
going to tell you their political views. Lupe Fiasco spoke about uh, Palestine
Mm-hmm.
and Obama's lack of giving a fuck about what was going on there
Mm-hmm.
many years ago. He has lyrics that say Gaza Strip was getting bombed. Obama didn't say shit.
Mm-hmm.
He later went on to say many things about Obama, the administration, and what's going on in Israel and Palestine. This was years ago, right? Immortal Technique is another MC who we have seen speak about many, 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 many political things going on in a geopolitical sense. In other words, not just in America, across seas, all over the place. He has spoke about it in music. He spoke about it on social media. He's held press conferences. He's been at protests. He's organized protests. He's done all of these things. And
Yeah.
so it would make sense that that kind of artist you would look to say something. But Beyonce hasn't done those things. Taylor Swift has not done those things. Are they hit makers? Absolutely. Are they
Hitmaker.
arguably two of the most popular artists in the world? Yes. Hey, I heard what you said. That wasn't nice.
It wasn't nice.
They make great music.
I was
They are super famous, but they are not responsible for political affiliations or sharing their political affiliations.
girl.
Or either one of them is a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, against voting completely. Not their job to tell us. We don't need to know, nor are they responsible for anything political. In fact, I would argue it would be smarter for them to shut the hell up and not say a damn thing.
That right there, because what I was just about to say is that the moment they become responsible is the moment they start speaking, is the moment they get involved. Because they are not absolved of responsibility at the point where they involve themselves. So if we could use Taylor Swift as an example, if Taylor Swift decides that she wants to get involved in LGBTQIA plus issues, then we're going to hold her accountable for that, right? If
Yes.
Beyonce decides that she wants to get involved in issues regarding Black America, we are going to hold Beyonce accountable for that because they got involved. The moment you involve yourself, the moment you start speaking, the moment you do a fundraiser, or the moment you speak out against something, it's not wrong for you to do it, but the expectations of you and the responsibility that you have changes. We are now allowed to hold you accountable for that because you got involved and you said, and now you got to be able to back up whatever you said. And as a public figure, that's just the way it works. If you
And I
give us
think, oh,
that,
good.
if you give us that, or if you put it out there as such, then we have a right to have an opinion about how you represent that.
And I think even that has limits.
Of course.
Because if I say, hey man, I'm pro-black and I hate the way that black people are constantly being murdered by the police, I don't have to say that every time. Said
No.
it once, I did whatever I did. I held a press conference, or I went to a protest, or I put out a song. I don't mean every time a police murder happens, I have to do all of those
No.
things. And I think that's another common misconception. So I think even that has limits. And I will say, yes, we do know Obama was someone who was endorsed by Jay-Z and Beyonce. I don't want to forget that.
Of
But
course.
really, there wasn't a lot said except vote for this guy.
Mhm.
And I thought it was a mistake then too, because Jay-Z is not a political person. He's not somebody who speaks about politics. And so when he did that, I was surprised. And yeah, his wife went with him and held him down. And we know they have a relationship with the Obama family. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't even think that means that every time something happens political, we have to go and look for Beyonce to be involved.
No.
Yes, this is a black woman who's running for president now, but it doesn't mean Beyonce has to get involved. She has a choice. And I think it's wrong for people to look to her for that guidance and for that money. And the last thing I want to say is, in closing, for me, if you got something else, you could go. But for me, for whoever is the candidate that the DNC chooses or co-signs or endorses, whatever, it's my understanding that $91 million was raised. You don't really need a fundraiser. I don't think people realize that. If Kamala Harris is who is chosen, There's $91 million that were given to the Biden-Harris administration uh, campaign fund via donations.
Yeah, she as of today, she has the fastest growing fundraising effort in history.
There you go.
He's raised the most amount of money in one day than anyone has ever raised.
And
So
I will save the rest of my thoughts on that part for the
your
sexual selection
yes,
podcast.
yes, please do. We are excited to we are excited to hear that. But yeah, I mean, I, I get it. I understand. It's less about the raising of the funds, and when it comes to Beyonce and Taylor Swift, I think it's less about the money they will make and more about the influence and the impact they will have. But that's up to them. That's not. I don't think that's something we can decide for them. And
Right.
historically, like you said, certain music artists, actors, whoever have gotten involved in campaigns before and have done things to fundraise, have done things to get the word out. So we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see who's going to be at the DNC, because the same way the RNC just happened, and you know, they had celebrities there. I mean, maybe not people that are your favorites, but you know, Amber Rose was there, Hulk Hogan was there. You'll see that at the DNC also. You'll see celebrities who are going to endorse the Democratic Party. So it's like we said, it's not uncommon. But I think it's that person's right, whether they want to or not.